Hey Ernest, I can't see if anybody's waiting in the waiting room. I just see the 5 participants.
Okay, Valerie, the meeting is now live. I've given you the host duties now.
Okay, thank you.
So you should be good to go. Just let me know if you need anything. I'll be on Teams on another meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Alrighty. Have a great meeting.
Thank you. Okay, we are going to get started. Let me start my video. Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to check if we are all here. We are starting the Certification Advisory Council meeting. And I am Kathy Mayer, Director of Private Post-Secondary Institutions. Let me just make sure everyone that I expect to be on the call is on the call. Adam Hutchison, are you here? And if you can unmute.
I'm here, thank you.
Thank you. And Danny Day, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
Thank you, Danny. Tina Jackson.
Hello, Cam.
Hello. Paul Schuler.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Jacob Tingle.
I am unmuted and here.
Hua Lee.
Hello, I'm here.
Hello. Cheryl Sneed Green.
I'm here.
Thank you. Gina Anderson.
Good morning. Glad to see you all.
Dorothy Langley.
Good morning.
Good morning. Here. And Lynette Gillis.
I'm here.
All right, we are all here. We were asked to make sure that your name was displayed. So if you don't have your name displayed, let me see if I can tell if everyone has. I think somebody had adult education, but that might have been changed. We are streaming this morning, and so our technical advisor asked that we all have our names on our screen so that everyone can see who is talking. So let us get started. I think we do have a quorum. So Chairman, we will have a quorum. The meeting is being webcast today. We are meeting virtually via the Zoom platform. I would like to remind participants to mute yourself when you're not speaking and unmute when you are speaking. Please ensure your video is on so that others can see you when you talk. We don't have the chat feature today, but if you would like to ask a question, you can use the little raise the hand indication. And then Jacob, when you are leading the meeting, if you could monitor that, and if I see that someone has a hand raised, I will try to advise you of that as well. I would like to welcome our Certification Advisory Council members. We just identified ourselves, so I think we're good with that. We also have the institutional representative and the site team leader. I'm going to have you introduce yourselves at the point that you are able to do some presentations. So I am going to, actually, I will have you each introduce yourselves and with your institution. So Dr. Jacob Tingle, if you could introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jacob Tingle at Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas.
Thank you. Dr. Hua Lee.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Lee. I'm a professor at Texas A&M University, Kingsville.
Thank you. Dr. Cheryl Sneed-Green.
Good morning. I'm Cheryl Sneed-Green. I'm at Prairie View A&M University, and I'm assistant provost.
Thank you. Dr. Gina Anderson.
Good morning. I'm Gina Anderson, the Associate Dean for Educator Preparation and Partnerships at Texas Women's University.
Thank you. Dr. Lynette Gillis.
Hi, I'm Lynette Gillis. I'm at the Concordia University, Texas in Austin.
And Dr. Dorothy Langley.
Hello again. This is Dorothy Langley. I am the Dean of Adult Education at Jarvis Christian College in Hawkins, Texas.
Thank you, Dorothy. And as I said, I am Kathy Mayer, Director of Private Post-Secondary Institutions. We have two other staff members with us today. Dr. Tina Jackson, would you introduce yourself?
Hello, colleagues. I'm Tina Jackson, the new Assistant Commissioner of Workforce Education, and so glad to see all of your lovely faces this morning. Hello, Danny Day. I just want to say hi to you. Haven't seen you for a while. It's good to see all of you.
And Dr. Paul Schuler.
Good morning. I'm Program Manager for Workforce Education at the Coordinating Board.
And Dr. Schuler was also the staff liaison for the site visit. So now I am going to turn it over to our chairperson, Jacob Tingle.
Again, good morning, everybody. To get us started, we need to approve the minutes from our last meeting. Have the CAC members had a chance to review those summary notes, and do we have any revisions if needed? I'm not seeing anyone unmute, so I'll take that as a no. So we need to have.
I do have one correction.
Oh, yes.
This is Cheryl.
Yes.
Throughout, my last name is spelled S-N-E-E-D, but my last name is actually S-N-E-A-D.
Got it.
Thank you.
We're okay to accept that as a friendly amendment. We don't need to vote on that amendment. Is that correct? Okay.
I believe so.
Okay. Any others? Thank you, Dr. Green. Okay. So we need a motion and a second to approve the minutes. If I can get a motion.
I move to accept the minutes.
Dr. Anderson, second. Dr. Langley, seconds. Okay. So we're going to go, I'm going to ask each one of you for a yes or no for approval. So Dr. Anderson?
Yes.
Dr. Lee?
Yes.
Dr. Gillis?
Yes.
Dr. Sneed-Green?
Yes.
Dr. Langley?
Yes.
And my vote is a yes also. All right. So thank you all. The October 30th, 2019 meeting summary notes are now approved with the revision of making sure that Dr. Sneed-Green's name is spelled correctly. Today we're here considering the application for Medicine College of Biomedical Engineering Technology for its third certificate of authority. They have operated in Dallas under 2 previous certificates of authority while seeking Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board recognized accreditation. Just as a reminder that we did receive the evaluation team report and medicine's response prior to the meeting. So I know you all have those notes and we'll have some questions when we get to that point. Dr. Day, are you the only medicine representative here today?
Yes, I
Okay.
am.
Can you introduce yourself and your name and your title?
I'm Dr. Danny Day, and I'm the Chief Academic Officer for Medicine College.
Great, thank you. And Dr. Hutchinson, you are the site chair. Can you introduce yourself?
Certainly, thank you. I'm Dr. Adam Hutchison. I'm the president at Virginia Highlands Community College in Abingdon, Virginia.
Great, thank you. And thanks in advance for your work also. Cam, can you remind the members of the Certificate of Authority process and the timeline?
Yes. Each certificate of authority is valid for 2 years. The current certificate of authority will expire on April 25th, 2021. This certificate of authority, if approved, would be valid from April 2021 to April 2023. Institutions can apply for and receive certificates of authority for a total of 8 years. At the end of 8 years, the institution must have received THECB recognized accreditation. This would be Medicine's third certificate. Certification by the state of Texas is not accreditation, but merely a protection of the public interest while the institution pursues accreditation from a recognized agency. The CAC makes a recommendation to the commissioner and to the coordinating board members. The commissioner can make his own recommendation. The recommendations go to the coordinating board at a committee meeting and then to the full board at a quarterly meeting.
All right, thank you very much. And Dr. Day, we'd love to have you provide a 5 to 10 minute overview of Medicine's degree program and accreditation status.
Medicine College is a single program institution. We're focused on providing the best biomedical engineering technology education in the industry at the 2-year level. The college has considered accreditation with a variety of the recognized accrediting agencies, but the focus of the institution on making sure that the background theory for the program is included, as well as the technical skills, has made it a little difficult to fit into some of the other career school accreditors. And so ultimately the college decided last fall to apply to CACs. Well, not last fall actually, but before that, to apply with CACs. And we got slowed down a little bit by the pandemic because CACs has an introductory meeting that they require you to attend, and they canceled that last spring. So we attended it last fall. And we have completed our application, and as soon as we have our audit done, we'll be able to submit it to CACs. So I think we're kind of slow getting started on the accreditation piece, but I think that has a lot to do with the fact that the institution is really focused on the education of students. And I think that's something that has showed up in all of the coordinating board reviews of the institution, is the quality of the education. And one of the reasons that they brought me on is my experience with accreditation. So I think that is going to help us really move forward because I know how to do those applications. And so I think that's one of the reasons we're almost done with the application now. What questions do y'all have about the institution? I know you've all read the stuff. I don't want to just go over things you already know.
Well, we'll have a time for questions, but we want to hear from Dr. Hutchinson first, just
Okay.
to get the site review, to provide a short overview. I mean, again, we've all read the report, but we'd love to hear in your own words what the site team review was, and then Dr. Day will definitely have time for Q&A.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Tingle. I'll just summarize, if I may, the report that you've now seen. You'll note that this particular site evaluation was done virtually, which is an unusual way to do a site evaluation visit. But because of the pandemic and the circumstances, we felt like that was the best option. I was joined by my colleagues, Ms. Annette Ferguson, who's the Vice President for Finance and Administration and CFO at Lee College, with a depth of experience in both the public and private sector and accounting. And then Dr. Brian Bell, who's the lead faculty member in biomedical engineering technology from St. Petersburg College in Florida. So we had some technical expertise, and I led that team. Again, our report covers a 2-day virtual visit. I'd like to also express my appreciation to the staff at Medicine. They were responsive to our request for information. They provided, as you would expect, a wealth of information initially for us to review, and then any additional information that we requested, they were prompt to provide it, and they were good virtual hosts as that may go. You can appreciate the stress that these sorts of visits put on an institution. Medicine is, as Dr. Day mentioned, a single program institution. It is a small institution with a very limited number of students and staff. And so any review can be stressful on an institution, but I'm especially grateful considering the many hats that the staff wear, that they were as responsive as they were. In the course of our 2-day review, we examined the institution through the lens of the coordinating board's 24 standards. We found them to be in compliance with 23 of the 24 standards. The only standard we identified that the applicant did not meet the standard was number 7, institutional assessment. And specifically, the visiting team just could not find evidence of continual assessment and evaluation systemically through the organization. So I do want to be clear in this verbal report that the institution did provide some evidence of continual assessment and evaluation. It was not devoid of evidence, but there was not evidence of consistent and institution-wide planning and assessment activities. Within the report, there are some other areas that the visiting team identified as points of concern, and that's simply for this committee to evaluate as it sees fit, as it makes its recommendation to the commissioner and the full board. I'm happy to answer any questions or defer to Dr. Day and the chair for their comments and reply.
Great, thank you both. So I'm going to just open it up. Oh, yes, Cam.
I just wanted to acknowledge that our general counsel, Nicole Bunker Henderson, has joined us as well. So welcome, Nicole. You're on mute.
Sorry, I turned on one thing. I said, thank you all for having me. I'm just listening in, trying to learn about the work you do. Thanks for having me today.
Thanks. Welcome. I will turn it over to the members of the CAC, and now is our time to ask questions of Dr. Day or Dr. Hutchinson. And remember, excuse me, remember to think about asking questions that will allow us to be able to, at the end of the day, to make a recommendation on either approving or denying the application. And the outcome of any question really is to try to determine if those standards have been met. So I'll hit mute. I've got some questions, but I would prefer to stop talking for a little bit and turn it over to the rest of the team and see what questions that you all have.
Good morning, Dr. Day. I just wanted to follow up on Medicine's perhaps newly implemented plan for more formative assessment or annual institutional assessment reporting, and to just kind of gather any new plans for that to happen.
Well, I wasn't, you were cutting out a little bit, but I think you want to know what our future plans are for institutional assessment? Okay. Well, one of the things that I have been involved with Medicine College for much longer than I have worked for Medicine College, because I served in the role that Adam served with Medicine College for their first visit. And during that visit, we recognized that Medicine College was doing a great job with instruction, but didn't have a lot of the other administrative things going on, and said they needed to put in place some assessment programs. So then I went the second time. I was a reviewer, and they had the systems in place, but they hadn't implemented them yet. So this time, I think we have implemented the systems, but we really, because we are a single program institution, we really focused on the program review and getting that one up and running and going first. And I think the program review report is well documented, and I don't think there were any questions about the program review. So I think the upcoming couple of years we'll be able to focus more on documenting our institution-wide assessment and planning program. It's something that we do, but when I first came on with the institution, I was a little surprised because I've never worked at such a small institution before, an institution with a total of 10 employees. So a lot of the institutional planning takes place in employee meetings with people, and the budget is planned with the program director, the chief academic officer, the president, and the chief financial officer, all there working together and discussing the budget and coming up with the ultimate budget without a lot of paperwork passing between offices, because it is such a small place. So one of the things that we've said that we're going to do in future, I don't think we need to do so much more communication or integration with regard to our planning, but we do need to document it better. And so that's one of the things that we're going to be doing, is documenting that planning process, because it's something that we need to do if we want to continue forward and move on to accreditation, which is one of the things. So that's, I think documentation is going to be our focus for solving that problem, because I think we do it. We just don't document it as well as we should.
This is Lynette Gillis, and I have a question. Could you address the area of concern around financial resources and stability? Just looking at your leverage ratio and viability ratios being a little bit higher than we would expect, as well as accrued compensation for the CEO. Can you address kind of the financial plan, long-term debt potential challenges, and would any additional resources, equipment, people be needed that might create a financial risk?
No, I don't think that there will be any additional needs that will be a financial risk. I'm not the chief financial officer, so I probably can't talk about that in detail. But since Medicine College isn't a public institution, we don't work with the things that, like you were talking about, the financial viability rate, those kinds of ratios are not things that we use for our institution. The Texas Workforce Commission has a specific ratio that we use to make sure that we stay within the required financial, I guess, I don't know what they call it, Texas Workforce Commission. I think they call it a, just a their financial ratio is what I think they call it. And our auditors, we work closely with our auditors, and we had an absolutely clean audit from them. And so we don't anticipate any financial difficulties in the future. We are growing, but we have industry partners that have provided us with the additional equipment we need for the student growth. So we don't anticipate any issues with the equipment that we might need. And the student growth certainly will increase the revenue that the institution brings in. Like I said, I'm not the chief financial officer, so I can tell you that we are not concerned.
This is Jacob. I actually have, I guess, a related kind of follow-up question, just thinking about equipment in terms of, replacement plans for when current equipment becomes obsolete, or, is the next new thing comes out that your students will need to learn. How is that being factored in or being considered in terms of those kind of projections?
Well, funny that you should mention that, but next week we have one of our industry partners is physically coming to the institution to go through the clinical lab with us and identify any upgrades that we need in order to stay current with the industry, and has committed to providing any equipment or supplies that we need in order to make that upgrade. So our president has a very close relationship with the industry leaders in biomedical technology, and that is one of the primary ways such a small institution has been able to be so successful with completions and placements, is because our close relationship with the industry. We give them what they need and they give us what we need.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Day, this is Dr. Langley. I had a question. You provided a response to one of the areas of concern about the fire drills. And my question was, did you have fire drills prior to your response that you gave, or it was just no evidence of documentation of that?
Just no documentation. We had them, we just didn't document them.
Okay.
But we will from now on.
I understand. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Day, and this is Dr. Lee. For the assessment and the document you provided, there's a table, I think in page 27. There's a category 4 with number 4.5. What does that mean? It's a bar chart. You have 2018, 2019, 2020 for student enrollment and withdrawal.
Yes.
And then the last one,
review.
yeah, and then the last one is a category 4 with a value of 4.5.
Are you talking about the program review with the enrollment?
Yes, enrollment and withdrawal data.
Yes.
And then you have a 2018, 2019, 2020. And
right.
then after that, you have category 4.
Category 4.
I was kind of confused what is category 4 represents in the table.
It looks like it's on page 27, I think.
Yeah, it's page 27.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. I'm looking at the enrollment and withdrawal data in the program review. Are you talking about in the institutional effectiveness report?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Okay. Wait. Let me pull that up.
Your document 7A.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Kathy. That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay. I have no idea where that came from or why that's there. It is not on the pictures that I have. You want me to show? I don't have that document there. I mean, I don't have that category 4. I don't have any idea what that is.
Okay. So
on the printed version that I have, it doesn't print.
I think that's what we received.
I believe you. I just don't know what happened.
Okay. I guess we have to skip this question. And a lot of questions for the institutional assessment report. All those objectives, most of them, they are, I think, they are not quantitative measurable. So do you think, are you planning to kind of modify those objectives of those measurements to make them quantitative measurable? So the next time when you do the assessment, you can know for sure you can use the student survey data or the alumni survey data and to see you meet the standard or do you meet the objective?
Well, we had planned to use the quantitative, since we are a single program institution, we had planned to use the quantitative data in support of the program review. And we were using, on the institutional planning and assessment, we were using other kinds of measures. But I'm sure that if you recommend that we change that, we can. But the institution revolves around this one particular program. So there isn't much else that goes on at the institution besides this one program. So all of the financial operations of the institution go to support this program. All student services go to support this program.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Day, I have a question. I'm looking at student admission information in the report that was done for the site visit. And I guess some of the observations and the concerns, because these are veteran candidate students, right? And so, and it talks about them having a discharge from active duty in lieu of high school graduation and that type of stuff. But what exactly are the admission requirements for a student to be admitted into y'all's program, into y'all's college?
In order to be admitted to our institution, we require students to take the medicine specific test for aptitude for the program, and we require them to show that they have completed high school, unless they have like a DD 214. And then we don't require them to give us the high school completion because the admission requirement for the military is high school or equivalent. So if they got there, then, so we don't ask them to go back and dig those things up for us because they had to dig them up for the military.
Okay, and I guess because you're not a public institution, and they can get in for based on the military. I guess my concern is how qualified or not qualified. I'm not questioning the qualifications, but how prepared are the students to be successful? Because it seems like you have limited tutoring for the students. There's no remediation programs or assistance that way to help the students if they are having, if they come in with any deficiencies, academic deficiency. So I guess I'm just kind of concerned.
Our aptitude test requires a significantly higher level of academic preparation than the TSI.
Okay. Okay.
So if they are admitted, if they pass our aptitude test and we admit them, then they are, as much as you can know in advance, they are prepared to be successful in the program. When you say we have limited tutoring, we have, I suppose, limited tutoring programs, but we have unlimited tutoring because our small number of students, our faculty will work with them as much as they need in order to help them learn what they need to learn in order to be successful in the program. I think you can look at our completion rates and see that we have very high completion rates. So
yeah, that was going to be my next question, was what was the completion rates for the students, the average completion rates for students?
For 2018, we enrolled 18 students, and 12 of them completed the program. One of them went on to higher ed, and 10 of them got jobs. And in 2019, we had 17 students, and 13 of them completed the program. And of those 13 students, again, 10 of them were placed, and one of them went on to get a bachelor's degree.
Okay, so for those students, the ones who are admitted, I guess this is another question. Most of them are veterans, so is their education supported or financed mostly by Veterans Affairs, the government, or how much debt do the students have when they complete this program?
Zero.
Zero.
If they can't get out of the program with zero debt, then we look for private funds, because we don't want any of our students to graduate with debt.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This is Lynette Gillis again, and I have to go back to a financial question. It looks like on, I believe it's page about 59, one of the board minutes, that the CEO has extended another loan to the institution to assist in cash flow. And was that a response to kind of COVID and pandemic? And what is the plan to, become more reliant without that extension from the CEO? And then finally, if we go back to kind of the equipment and the maintenance side of that cash will be needed for, you mentioned having relationships and partners. Do you have contracts? Do you have anything that would provide kind of an assurance of that?
No, I don't think that we have contracts with them. I don't think that they would, I don't think their systems would be able to provide as much as they do if it was something that they were contracting for. It is a donation on their part. So we don't have a contract requiring them to donate to us. I think that I think that this year's audit will show that significant amounts of the debt that the college had acquired in the past was retired over this last year.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Day, this is Gina Anderson again, and I have a question about medicine's, admission processes and advertising that they have military and veteran students, U.S. undergraduates, as well as international students. And currently, I believe in the report it was 99% of the students are all veterans. Do you all have any plans to strategically recruit, first time in college students, typical, kind of U.S. undergrads or international students as well?
We do have plans to expand our institution with recruiting in those areas, and we've been in some conversations with some have to be careful about what's proprietary and what isn't, with some other countries to bring their students in when it becomes an appropriate thing to do. But a lot of things that were in our planning have been put on hold due to the pandemic. We concentrated significant amounts of faculty training and time and effort last year in moving things to remote delivery, which we hadn't been doing in the past.
I have a follow-up actually on that, Dr. Day. Somewhere in the report, and I failed to write the page number down. You had indicated the possible plan to offer online education. So has the forced shift to remote education opened up opportunities? I guess my question is the idea when students will be able to come back in person, or maybe they are, but to continue to offer remote or distance education to a different set of students? Yeah, I guess, can you just talk a little bit about those plans?
Yes. One of the things that has always limited our student body has been the full-time accelerated on-campus delivery of the program. I mean, although they could complete the associate's degree in 7 months, they were going to school at least 8 hours a day with home, and they were on campus. They were on site. They were there all the time. And the number of people who are in a position to put their life on hold for 7 months and move to Dallas and do that is a limited number of people. So with this forced move to remote delivery, we see that as a significant way of expanding and making it possible for students to spend less time actually on campus and still be able to complete our program. So do some of the theory work ahead of time without actually being on site. And that's one of the things that we're developing and part of our plan to expand to other students.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I have a follow-up to Dr. Tingle's comments or question. What are some of the recruitment activities do you do to get your students? Because I noticed that most of them, just looking at your website, are mostly veterans. So what types of tools do you use to recruit your students?
We have a recruiter who works closely with whatever the military office of people who are getting out of the military is called. And I don't know what that is, but she works closely with them. And that's where we get a lot of our students. The chair of our board is General Myers. He used to be the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And it was the board direction that moved us to the recruitment of veterans to begin with.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Day, I have a question about the admission process. So since the pandemic, you switched to remote teaching. So for any new applications or applicants, how can they take the test, the aptitude test? Are you going to do it online, or they have to come to Dallas to do it?
No, we have them do it with, they do it online with a remote connection. So they can be doing the test online while they are Zooming with, actually our president is the one who does it. They Zoom with the president and then take the test while he's with them. For example, if I was to sit and take a test online with you right now.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. I realize that seems like an odd arrangement, but for such a small school, everybody does, the president helps a lot with the admissions part of the program.
Hi, this is Jacob again. I just have a question about regarding the distinction of roles, specifically the program director reporting directly to the president instead of to the chief academic officer. And I read the response, and I'm still a little bit unclear about why the program director needs to have a direct line to the president or CEO and a dotted line to the CAO. It just seems like it could be the other way around. So the explanation was basically that as I read it, and maybe I misread it, but that the program director needs to have significant contact with the president. I get that, but I don't know why that has to be a straight line relationship as opposed to a dotted line relationship. If my understanding is that you're actually the person that does the annual evaluations of the program director. So maybe can you just explain that a little bit? Because the response was just a little unclear still for me.
Well, the president and the program director worked together for years to build the program. And when the last co-board evaluation said that they really needed to get a chief academic officer, they did, but asking them to just immediately change their relationship is a social system that would create more trouble than it would solve. And it is better for the ongoing institution not to jump in and change the organization chart to that extent immediately. Ultimately, I think it will, but it's a social issue, not so much a operational issue.
So is that the reason why the chief academic officer is only a part-time person because of that relationship?
One of the reasons that I'm only part-time is that there are 4 faculty members and 17 students. And there's a program director and who also teaches, and there's 3 full-time faculty members. So, and there's only 1 program. So a lot of times the chief academic officer negotiates between the variety of programs and works to supervise multiple deans or multiple program directors. And we just don't have that. So the need for what the chief academic officer does full time is not as great. Now, as the school grows, it probably will. And as we have expanded what we're doing, I went from working 10 hours a week with them to being half-time with them. And so I think as it grows, the position grows with it. As the need for it grows, the position grows with it. But it's so small, the need for me to be full-time just wasn't there.
So what is your projected growth? What's y'all end number, do you think? What do you guys, because you keep saying as we grow, where do you want to be?
Well, we want to do this carefully. We don't want some kind of explosion of enrollment because that wouldn't allow us to carefully address all the issues that enrollment growth brings. So what we'd like to do, we have had we enroll 4 cohorts of students each year. And we have had around 5 or 6 students in each cohort. We would like to grow that, and next year try to have 10 students in each cohort. So when we say grow, we want to grow to where we will have 40 students next year instead of 17. But we're not looking to have 400.
Okay.
And then as if we do well with that and that goes well and we feel like we're still providing the quality of education that is really the primary focus of the institution, then maybe we'll try and grow some more. But what we want to make sure we are always doing is giving students the skills and the theory and the background they need to be able to move into the job and be the best person, the best employee that organization has in biomedical technology.
So do you guys turn away a lot of students who are interested because of, you know, the limited resources, or, you know, the limited amount of faculty and that type of thing that you have? So you have a lot of students who want to be in your program, but right now we just can't accommodate those students.
We have a lot of students who are interested in our program, but in the past, we haven't turned away a lot of students who qualified, who took the exam and qualified to be admitted, because frankly of the on-site full-time, and you know, a full-time student in most institutions may be taking 4 courses. But when we say full-time, we're talking about truly 8 hours a day plus homework.
Okay.
So students, their interest in the program was very often limited by other kinds of obligations they had, because you couldn't do this program and work. But that's one of the things we're trying to make some changes in as we look at possibly doing the remote, and then people can spend less time on site full time in the labs.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This is Jacobin again. I also just have a question regarding standard 3, the governance question. I know the bylaws were amended, it looks like, but I'm still not seeing, again, unless I read them wrong, I'm not seeing that the board will will be required to consist of an odd number of members, which I think seemed to be the issue with 6, not the number 6, but that it was an even number instead of an odd number. Can you talk a little bit about the board structure and how the new bylaws are responding to the site visit?
I think the new bylaws say they have to have at least 3 board members.
Right, but at least 3 could be 4.
Yeah, or it could be 6.
Okay, maybe then a follow-up question for Dr. Hutchison. Maybe I was misunderstanding the concern that the site visit had. My reading of it was that the site visit team was concerned that it was an even number, not that it was the number 6. Can you maybe address that or maybe clear that up for me? Because it just wasn't clear to me.
Sure. Our concern, as we noted, as we reviewed their bylaws, was the original bylaws had a specific number of board members, and that's not what the board was comprised of. So to Dr. Day's point, if their redress of that issue is to remove the specificity, you know, that's within their purview, but they had specifically enumerated it, and that's not how many board members they had.
So the problem wasn't if there was a vote that there would not be able to be.
Correct. I mean, that's the institution's determination. If they
Right.
want to log jam, they can.
Okay.
There was nothing in a charter document or anything like that prohibited them from being vague in the number of board members, but it was the fact that they were specific in the number of board members and did not have them at the time.
Perfect. Thank you for that clarification.
Dr. Day, this is Dr. Lee again. I have a lot of questions about the program assessment. Does you do individual course assessment, like a student evaluation, or even
Yes, we do.
the faculty assessment?
Yes, we have faculty assessment and course students do course evaluations.
Are those assessment results being tied to your program assessment?
Yes.
In which objective or measurement are they tied to?
In the program assessment, different elements of those show up, some in the facilities and equipment section, and some in student services section, and some in learning resources section, some in faculty, in the faculty section. We don't just say, here was the student evaluation. We take the different questions from the student evaluations and assign them to the different areas of the program review.
Oh, so those results are from individual course assessment? Like
well, when you gather them all together.
Right. They are like a summarize the data from different
Yes.
courses. Okay, I thought they are different. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm not seeing, I'm scrolling through, I'm not seeing any hands raised. Does anyone have any additional questions that they haven't gotten a chance to ask, or any additional questions that they wanted to follow up with based on either Dr. Day's responses or Dr. Hutchinson?
Can I ask if staff has any questions?
I do not, Kim.
Thank you.
And I do not either.
All right, I'm gonna do one more spin through just to see if I see any hands up and that I'm missing. Okay, so I think we don't have any more questions. So just as a reminder, we're tasked with making a recommendation to the commissioner and the coordinating board regarding the current application. So if I can get a motion and a second to either recommend approval or recommend denial of the Medicine College of Biomedical Engineering Technology third application for a certificate of authority. Does anyone have a motion?
I move that we approve the Medicine College of Biomedical Engineering Technologies third request for certification of authority to offer their programs.
Great. Dr. Anderson has made a motion to recommend approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, Dr. Langley, thank you. Are there any other discussion? Do we want to talk about any restrictions or conditions? And Cam, I would ask, I guess, at this point too, I know at past meetings, the staff have occasionally had some restrictions or conditions that they would like us to consider. So I don't know if that's appropriate for me to ask that right now, but.
Sure. No, we do not at this point.
Okay. Great. So just to restate the final motion, we have a motion to recommend approval for Medicine to College of Biomedical Engineering Technologies third application for a certificate of authority. So if we can individually go through and give a yes or a no, Dr. Lee?
Yes, I approve.
Okay. Dr. Sneed-Green?
Yes, I approve.
Dr. Langley?
Yes, I approve.
Dr. Anderson?
Yes, I approve.
And Dr. Gillis?
Yes, I approve.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. We will, I'm going to turn it back over to Cam for any updates about future meetings or what happens next.
And Jacob, did you vote?
I did not, thank you. I also vote to approve.
Thank you. All right, thank you for that. The next 3 scheduled CAC meetings are April 29th, July 29th, and October 28th. Those are all Thursdays. We do not currently have any pending applications for a certificate of authority, but we expect reapplications that would most likely be heard at the July and October meetings. So if you could put those dates down on your calendar and reserve them, that would be wonderful. Again, April 29th, that one might be canceled. July 29th and and October 28th. Those we do expect we will have reapplications, so we will need to meet. I will keep you updated as to whether any of those do cancel though. We also do not know how long we will continue to have virtual meetings. This has worked well, and thank you for signing on today. However, since we do have a small advisory committee, we do need each CAC member to participate. So thank you for all participating today, and especially when a member leaves an institution or has an unavoidable conflict, sometimes we cannot make a quorum. So please put those dates on your calendar, and if you know that you're going to have a conflict, please let me know as soon as possible. And finally, please email me a summary of your expenses for this meeting. I don't know if you had any, especially since it was virtual, but we are required to report the amount advisory committee members expend for meetings. Expenses might include travel, copies you made, and so forth. And that's all the updates I have, Jacob.
Great. Thank you very much. And thanks to everyone for attending. And thank you very much again, Dr. Hutchinson, for your work and for the work of the site visit. And Dr. Day, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck going forward on the CAC accreditation.
Thank you.
And I will say, I don't have a gavel. I wish I did. The meeting is now adjourned. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you,
everyone.
Do the same.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.